Hi, and welcome to 12 Steps in Accent Reduction for Actors with your accent reduction coach, Stephen Stanley. Today we're going to look at a short scene I call an invitation. But first, make sure you've already watched my 12 Steps in Accent Reduction for Actors, the Basics video for an introduction to my 12-step program. In today's scene, Dana invites Jackie to a special event. Pause the video in order to give yourself time to read the scene, silently or aloud, then click on play when you've finished. Since you've already viewed my 12 Steps, the Basics video and know about the steps, now is your chance to put them into practice, beginning with step 1. I'll be doing this with both Dana's lines and Jackie's, but of course you'll only need to do that for the role that you yourself are playing. So first of all, highlight the consonant and vowel sounds that might give you trouble because of first language interference. Naturally, the sounds you highlight will depend on your native language and the particular difficulties you tend to have when speaking English. But for this particular video, I'm highlighting words with TH, both the voiced TH sound in that's and the voiceless TH in think, anything, thanks, etc. I've also highlighted examples of the R sound and the L sound. For example, the R in recital and favorite, and the L in cello. Note that the word thrilled starts off with both a voiceless TH and an R. So if these sounds are difficult for you, pay special attention to that one. The B sound and the V sound can be troublesome for a lot of you. So I've highlighted the B in able and absolute, and the V in invitation and favorite. The lax vowel is hard for a lot of non-native speakers, so I've highlighted it in wouldn't. Remember that would, W-O-U-L-D, and wooed, W-O-O-E-D, are two different words in English with two different pronunciations. In step 2, I've put an accent mark over each stressed word in the scene. And as you know, that means nouns, verbs, with a few exceptions, adjectives, adverbs, question words like what, where, and why, and indefinite pronouns like something and anyone. So pause the video and take a quick look at the words I've accented. Now that you've found all the stressed words, remember that these are the words that will take the beats and give your sentences English's distinctive jazzy rhythm. Step 3, underline the word that takes the final stress, because that's where the tone of your voice will either rise and fall or rise and keep rising, depending on what kind of sentence you're saying. More about that when we look at intonation. For now, notice that the last stressed word is often, maybe even usually, the last word. For example, anything, news, invitation, pleasure, performance, and favorite. But sometimes the last stressed word isn't the last word. So when you say make it, the last stressed word is actually the next to last word, make. And the same is true when you say play it, because as you know, pronouns aren't stressed, except in cases of special emphasis. Step 4 is about intonation, the music in your voice. And so I've drawn a line over each sentence to indicate where the tone of your voice rises or falls. Only the first sentence has rising intonation because it's a yes-no question. Do you think you'll be able to make it? The rest are all statements with rising, falling intonation. I wouldn't miss your Chopin recital for anything. That's sensational news. Thanks so much for the invitation. And notice in the last sentence how my voice goes up on the last stressed word play and then down on it. I'm very excited to hear you play it. Can you hear how and where my voice goes up and down? In step 5, you will cross out reduced vowels to remind you to pronounce them This can mean reduced vowels in unstressed syllables of multisyllable words, like the last syllable in recital, or the last two syllables of sensational, or the first and last vowels of sonata. It can also mean reducing the vowel in unstressed one-syllable words. For example, the preposition to becomes t in be able to make it, and the modal can becomes kn in you can see. Step 6. Remember that English sentences are pronounced as a continuous stream of sound, which means linking words together. Drawing a small curved line between each connection can help you remember this. Sometimes this means connecting a consonant with a consonant, as when you say, thanks so much, or a consonant with a vowel, as when you say, make it, or a vowel with a vowel, as when you say, be able, or the invitation. As you can see, this conversation has a lot of vowel-to-vowel linking. And by the way, remember that the is pronounced the before a vowel sound. The invitation. Step 7 asks you to pay attention to palatalization, which is why I've written a small sh above the s in miss and the y in your, as a reminder that miss your often turns into misher. And I've written a small j above the d in thrilled and the y in you, as a reminder that thrilled you changes to thrilled you in casual conversation. Step 8 is a very important one because it asks you to pay special attention to the way the letter T is pronounced. When it comes before a stressed vowel, it's pronounced clearly with a tiny puff of air, as when you say invitation. But remember that before an unstressed vowel, the letter T is pronounced like a light, quick D sound. And so I've made a note of that in recital, sonata, and excited. Note also how the T is pronounced at the end of a sentence in make it, favorite, and play it. Your tongue touches the bony ridge behind your upper teeth to make the T sound, but there's no puff of air at the end. It's make it, not make it. Favorite, not favorite. And play it, not play it. In step 9, watch out for silent consonants and words whose pronunciation differs from their spelling. In this scene, the vowel T in wouldn't is silent, so I've crossed it out. More importantly here, there are a lot of words with unusual or tricky spellings. For example, the letters CH in Chopin are pronounced like an SH, Chopin, but the C in cello is pronounced like a CH sound, cello. The TI in sensational and invitation is pronounced like the SH sound, shh, and the S in pleasure is pronounced zh, which I've written as the letters ZH, pleasure. Step 10 is your chance to put all your annotations into practice by recording and listening to your pronunciation. Naturally, you'll only be doing this for your own role. But for the purposes of this video, I'll do this for the entire scene. Listen as I perform Dana's invitation and Jackie's response to it to see how I'm putting steps 1 to 9 into practice. Do you think you'll be able to make it? I wouldn't miss your Chopin recital for anything. That's sensational news. Thanks so much for the invitation. My pleasure. I'm thrilled you can see my performance. The cello sonata in G minor is my absolute favorite. I'm very excited to hear you play it. Let me do that one more time. Do you think you'll be able to make it? I wouldn't miss your Chopin recital for anything. That's sensational news. Thanks so much for the invitation. My pleasure. I'm thrilled you can see my performance. The cello sonata in G minor is my absolute favorite. I'm very excited to hear you play it. Step 11, practice, practice, practice. And step 12, remember that methodology and acting class techniques are not enough if English isn't your first language. Now, pause the video and practice the scene on your own. You can also find the scene in the video description on my YouTube page. This is Stephen, hoping you've enjoyed today's look at 12 steps in accent reduction for actors. Best of luck to you.